So, hello everyone! We've set up the game and we're ready to roll, literally, because we're going to play a game of Bardsung. We've set up the game and we're ready to roll. And with me are Sherwin and Matt from Steamforged Games, who've had a very busy day, I guess, because we've started a Kickstarter for this game, and it's gone very well so far, which also means that there's probably lots of people you've talked to already and lots of sessions of games you've already played. How are you?
We are excited and thrilled. We've got 3,000 new friends, which we are busy talking to in the comments section and having a whale of a time, to be honest with you. It's an absolute blast.
It's been really, really cool.
That is good. Okay, as we can see here, this is the whole setup of the game. 4 characters are laid out. Here's the board. And I've chosen one of the characters. And
yes.
That is Night Feather. I got the Raven. And he's a little bit, well, Crow's murder. It's not only a pun, but it's probably also an ability that ties into his theme of being stealthy and rather an assassin-like character.
Yes, so he is our classic rogue style character. Really good at hitting and running away. Is your specialist subject, so you do lots of dodges and you do lots of hopefully lots of damage for us, like all good rogues should.
We're going to see if luck is with me or not. And then we have the game board set up here. I can see there's also a Night Feather card up at the top.
Yes, so...
And, you've already put my miniature on the game table?
We put your mini out. So let's give you a quick rundown. I know we talked briefly about Bardsung a week or so ago, but just to give you a really quick recap. So Bardsung is a procedurally generated dungeon explorer. So we are going to explore out into the map, which is the parchment that you see in front of you. And we are trying to explore this particular part of the dungeon. Now, this is what we call an encounter, and encounters can be played in the way that we're doing here, where we need to get from one side of the board to the other. So we're just going across the short distance for this particular encounter. Some encounters will require you to go the long distance across the board, and other encounters will require you to go diagonally across the board. So that's how we get our 3 different lengths of dungeon, and they do create quite different feeling dungeons as well, because of the different dimensions of the board affect the decisions you make. So when we explore, we are revealing cards from either a room or a corridor deck, and that is how we build the dungeon out before us. And it'll be very sort of self-explanatory when we actually dig deep into the game. But Sherwin and I will largely kind of flip the cards and talk about what our options are at each of those points in time. But what's useful to know at this early stage is when you encounter a new room or a new corridor, it might be filled with bad guys that you need to fight or run away from, or it might be filled with a challenge or a puzzle or a narrative event. And that's something that we would need to deal with as is appropriate, depending on what the challenge actually says to us. And we will fight and jump over pits and avoid water traps and do all sorts of exciting things. And we will explore out into the unknown. Now, we could go straight from one side to the other, but at the beginning of every encounter, we actually hide a couple of pieces of treasure out in the fog of war for us to potentially discover. So if our dungeon, as we build it, happens to go across one of these cards, then we will get bonus treasure for our troubles. So
we want the dungeon to go that way.
Well, it depends on
how well
we're doing. Yeah, it's entirely our choice. There's a lot of I don't know how well this would translate. Player agency. Do you know what I mean by that? You have a lot of choice as a player to sort of decide what you want to do. So it may well be that we try and go for this guy over here, but we might hit a dead end, or we might see a massive room full of 15 hobgoblins and think, do you know what? Let's just shut the door quietly and go the other way. So we don't quite know, but we might get up to this bit and we're on our last wounds. And if one of us dies, then we will lose the encounter. So we might say that's too risky to take on. Let's just go for the exit, so we can take a long rest and recuperate all of our wounds. So the game will occasionally rear up and punch you on the nose, and that's part of the fun of it.
Okay, let's get punched on the nose.
Let's get punched on the nose. So, really quick rundown of your character. So if you have a look at Nightfeather, it's initially complicated, but there's a couple of things that are really easy to kind of find familiarity with. So let's look at the attributes. So you have all the attributes that you would expect: strength, dex, con, wisdom, and charisma. And you can see that some of them have been coloured in. So currently, Nightfeather has +1 strength. And could upgrade to +2 if you wanted to spend your XP on increasing your strength. Has already maxed out their dexterity. Currently has no constitution, +2 intelligence, +2 wisdom, and no charisma at the moment. And this is one of the ways that you can spend XP as you adventure. And to give you a point of reference, each encounter generally gives you between 1 and 2 XP.
Okay, so I could give him some charisma because you need some flair.
Well, you want to be more stylish and more friendly when you meet kind of goblin traders scuttling along in the tunnels. But that's a future consideration, and one of the things that you should be looking at when you get XP. Do I want to increase any of my attributes? The other way that you increase your you spend your XP is by buying abilities, and you can see Nightfeather has 2 abilities. One is called Quick Slash, and one is called Piercing Strike. And these are the way that they attack their enemies. And they are quite similar, but there are subtle differences. Piercing Strike will do a dodge effect on a normal hit, but on a critical hit will do a serious wound and take a bad guy out, hopefully. Whereas Quick Slash will do a bloodied wound or a light wound, and then on a critical hit will do a serious wound. And also get a dodge on top of that. And we'll talk about how you use those. The thing that's interesting to note is Quick Slash has a fate symbol, which is this golden bee, and Piercing Strike does not. What this means is the Quick Slash has slightly better utility than Piercing Strike, but you need to pay a fate point to use it.
Okay.
So, fate points is a pool of resource that we share between all of us. So when one of us generates a fate point, someone else can use it, and that's one of the core building blocks of how we build combos. So Lightweaver, for example, is a brilliant character because they are able to generate a lot of fate points for characters like Nightfeather and Stoneheart to use. And so that's how we work as a team. If we look at Nightfeather's card, and if you double click on that, that will go large on your screen. Right at the bottom is an explanation that tells you how Nightfeather generates fate points. So if Nightfeather defeats an enemy, you generate a fate point. So Nightfeather really is our assassin. You go in, you cut someone to death, and then we'll generate fate from that, and everyone will celebrate and be happy. While you've got the card enlarged, on the left-hand side, you can see fairly familiar-looking icons, a move of 3, a defense of 1, and a health value of 4, and that's pretty self-explanatory. On the right-hand side, you can see an axe with a 0 next to it. That's the range that you can attack at. So range 0 means you need to be in the same zone as your enemy, and whenever you hit someone, you then use a d6 as your damage dice.
Okay.
And we will explain that when we find some bad guys. But that's pretty much what you need to know in terms of your core character. The only other thing that's worth really touching base on is the 2 pieces of equipment that you have. So you have Raven's Talon and Crow's Murder. And you can see that one of these is predominantly an offensive piece of equipment and one is predominantly a defensive piece of equipment. And you can see that we have already upgraded Raven's Talon to give us +1 on our damage rolls.
Nice.
Right? So these upgrades are the lost treasures that we find out in the map. So this is why we want to find them, is because they actually give us cool little buffs to our equipment. And we can upgrade this equipment to allow us to put more buffs into it and to get more abilities into our equipment. But that's definitely something for play over many sessions as you're starting to level your equipment up as well as your character. And that's pretty much all we need to know to kind of start the game, to be honest with you. Let's go. So I think what we'll do is just because it would be unfair to throw you straight in at in the firing line. The cards at the top are we call them marching order. That's our initiative system. That's how you tell whose go it is and in what order you go, and it goes from left to right. So I'm playing Dawn Guard, and I'm in the first position, so I get to act first. So Dawn Guard is going to move, spend one of her actions to move. I'm going to move over to here because I do fancy us getting this piece of treasure. And for my second action, I'm going to explore this open portal, which means that because we're going from a room, I'm going to search in the corridor deck. I'm going to flip over this corridor deck, and we have got a straight corridor. And that is a 2x4 corridor, so we can place that down any way we want. Doesn't really matter for a corridor, so I'm just going to drop that there and hit the lock button. And then if you look at the card closely, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner there's a little flag that is basically telling us this is a challenge. So something is going to challenge us, so we'll grab one from the challenge deck, and we'll flip that bad boy over, and we'll have a look on it, and it says... An aged lever sits on one wall, covered in dust, but it's surprisingly firm to touch. So a hero on this tile can spend an action to discard this card and gain a lever token. So there is a mysterious lever here, which we don't know what it does, but if we pull it, we're going to get a lever token. Now, secretly, that may be a good thing or it may be a bad thing. We don't know yet.
So sometime later there might be a card that says if you have a lever token, this room is different in this and that way. Okay.
Correct. Exactly. We might find a portcullis that says you can only get past this if you've got a lever token, for example. Or we might come into a room that says if you have a lever token, the floor collapses and you will fall into a spiked pit trap. So you don't quite know. So randomly going around pulling levers isn't always the best idea, but, it's up to you. So part of my explore thrusts me into there, and that really is my go. So I am done, and now it's over to Stoneheart, who has 2 actions.
So do we think I should carry on following down the route Matt went to? Do we think, or do we want to explore off in the opposite direction?
I think someone should pull the lever.
Okay. Well, that feels like a clear statement. So I'm going to go into here then. So 1 and then 2.
Yeah.
And apparently I'm pulling the lever.
All right. So
I'll gain the lever token.
That's cool. So we discard this card and we gain a lever token. Let's hope that was a good decision.
we will see.
And that's my 2 actions over.
Cool.
So over to you, Nightfeather.
Nightfeather, it is your go.
Nightfeather.
Yeah, you can see faintly these chalk marks tell you what zone they are. So you have a move of 3. So you can move 1, 2, 3. That's it.
And then I'd say my second action would be to explore this open end of the corridor.
Yep. So that is a room. So we'll flip that over and we will see...
That's a bit more complicated.
Ooh.
Well, here's an interesting thing. This one can't actually be placed because it will take us off the board. Now, there is a rule in the game that says if you cannot place the room, then sadly, that goes back in the pile and this becomes a dead end. So now we are blocked off. That was a dead end. And,
I like the idea of the mysterious Kenku rogue stalking ahead and let me see, guys. I'm going to find this out. I'm the rogue and here's a dead end.
A dead end. There's probably a secret door here somewhere, but I can't find it. So sadly, we're not going to get to that bit, which is... But never mind. So that was your move and your action. So we are now at the end of the round. What we do now is we roll a d6. And on a 5+, a wandering monster appears. Fortunately, I rolled a 4, so we don't have to worry about wandering monsters just yet. And we are back at the top of the marching order. The marching order only changes when we get into combat.
Okay.
So you are miles away. I don't really want to go and... Well, I'm going to have to... Actually, do you know what? I'm going to just move to here and explore. Shall I explore? Yeah, go on, I'll explore.
They can't all be dead ends.
They can't all be dead ends, right? Let's find
I think if I look over there, there's no room so big that it wouldn't fit in the middle of this map.
We found a T-junction, and the good news is there's a door on this T-junction. So I'm just going to drop... God bless you, Tabletopia. Let me just drop it where I want to. There you go. That's close enough. Yeah. Cool. And part of the explore action puts me into there. And there is a door across here, which we'll flip because it's open. Cool. And this is another challenge. So let's grab a challenge card and see what we've got. Oh, okay.
Acid trap. No.
Something has thrown a vial of acid over a chest in one corner. Noxious fumes thicken the air. Place 5 timer tokens on this card. A hero on this tile may make a action to make a... what is that? That's... oh, God, my brain's gone blank. A constitution check.
Constitution.
Increase the TN by 1 for every token. So it's currently TN 13. If they pass, discard this card and gain 3 treasure from the chest. If they fail, remove 1 token and suffer a wound. Okay. That was... Well, I'm still in this room, so basically I have no actions to spend on that. So that's fine. We got a chest that's belching out acidic fumes. Stoneheart, is your go.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of random chests that sort of belch out acidic fumes into the world, so I'm probably going to ignore that if I'm entirely truthful. I'm going to go 1 and then 2, and normally you can't do an action more than once, but because move is an exception, you can spend both your actions to move up to move effectively double your move. So that's going to be 1, 2, and then 3 to here. And I'm at that point. I've used both my actions. I stop.
Good. So it's 9 for this turn.
Let's go. You're up.
So 1, 2, 3 zones.
Yep.
Yeah. Then I need to move, so I end up in the T-junction. So we're all standing around the acidic trap.
The acid belching chest. Right, let's see if we get a wandering monster. We do not. That is grand. In which case, it is my turn. So I know how bad wandering monsters are going to be. So I'm going to spend an action to shut the door behind us, which will stop a wandering monster appearing. I'm going to actually explore out of this portal here.
And so hasn't given up on the treasure.
I haven't given up on the treasure. We are going into a room. So let's just see what type of room this is. This is... Oh, wow. This is a big room. Okay.
Again, it may not fit.
Oh, no, I think that's going to go.
Barely.
Yeah, look at that. Mate, that's awesome. So we're definitely going to get this card as long as we can beat all of the things that are in here.
I'll go get them now.
What's interesting as well, just as point of reference, is these symbols here represent potential secret doors, and because they are now closed off, they both count as doors. So we'll put door tokens on there, so we can actually run around there if we want to or need to.
I told you there was a secret door.
There was definitely a secret door.
I just couldn't find it.
We found it now, so that becomes a secret door, but they are closed at the moment, so that's fine.
Really good.
Cool, let's see what we're fighting over. We are fighting over... Oh, look at this. It's a +3 to hit Brilliant Sapphire, which would be kind of cool if we could get that and put on one of our weapons. Right, so as Show is gathering all the models, let's double-click on the room card just for a second, and you can see that it tells you with orange arrows that there are doors. Blue arrows means that there are no doors, and it then tells you a whole bunch of letters that are currently development speech that tell us what to put in here. And these are the ways that we use to scale the game from 1 player all the way up to 5 players. So I won't necessarily go into the ins and outs of it. When we get to the final game, you will either be playing with a set of cards that is particular to the number of players you have, or you will be referencing like icons on these. So for the time being, we're just using the letters while we get everything right. But Sherwin hopefully has set up the room for us. Now, because this is a battle, we grab a battle aspect card and we double click, we flip this guy over, and this is a modifier. Oh no, this is not good. These foes must be part of a larger group. Finish them off before their allies arrive. Place 4 timer tokens on this card. During the end phase, remove 1 token from the card. If there are no tokens at the start of the end phase, spawn D4 grunts on the previous top. So we need to deal with this, and we need to deal with it quickly. So that goes up there. And we've
not quite one there. Yep.
We need to put 4 tokens on that. I rather think we've used up a lot of our tokens, haven't we? With our acid.
Yeah, I'll take.
Tell you what, let's grab, what dice do we not use? We don't use a D12 much, do we?
I was going to say, I can happily do this with the tokens over here if you want.
Oh, really?
We've got a lot of wound tokens. I can drop wound tokens over for the time being. That's fine.
Set it to a 5. Was it 4? Okay.
I think it was 4, yeah.
Yeah, I can set it to 4. There you go. Yep. We can use that as a countdown. Cool. All right. So, because we've started combat, what does every GM say when you start combat? It says roll for initiative.
Yes.
Right? So we don't roll for initiative. All we do is scoop up all of the cards of everyone that's involved in the combat. We shuffle them quickly and we deal them out, and that tells us our initiative order. Now, there are some abilities in the game. Nightfeather can have access to these abilities but doesn't currently have them, that will allow them to jump up and down the initiative order, so they can kind of have quick reflexes and things like that. But for the time being, because we're quite low level still, we are going to have to go with what we get, unfortunately. So we have got Sherwin in control. Well, look, Nightfeather's out of the gate straight away, then the Brigands, then Stoneheart, me, yeah, and then the Brutes.
Yep. Okay,
not too bad. So, same as before, you have 2 actions, one of which, or any of which, can be a move. But of your abilities that you have in front of you, you can only use each one once per turn. So you couldn't do 2 piercing strikes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing is for you to just leap in and do something, and we'll talk you through how to make the appropriate dice rolls, and it's dead easy.
Okay. Then Nightfeather is just going to rush in. Move over to this one singular guy.
Yeah. That's cool. Nice. I like it.
Try to knife him, I guess.
All right. So piercing strike is definitely your friend, I would say. So that doesn't cost you any fate points to use. So piercing strike is, if you look at the symbol next to it, is a little green symbol, which is the dexterity symbol. Mm-hmm. You are +4. So you roll a d20 and you add 4 to it. And we will see what number you get.
Okay.
So if you click on that, press R, you got it.
8.
Right. So 8 + 4 is 12. So what we now look at is, because you're attacking a Brigand, we now look at the Brigand's card up on the marching order, and you can see in the top left-hand corner, his number is 10. So as long as you get 10 or more, you've hit. So you have hit. So if we look back at the piercing strike card, you can see for a normal hit, you can now do at least a dodge. You can dodge out. But you can try and do a critical. So do you remember when we talked about the damage dice? You guys, Nightfeather has a D6. Roll your D6. Don't forget that because of Raven's Talon, you get +1 on this. So it's D6 +1. And what we're trying to beat is the target's toughness.
Okay, I've rolled a 3 + 1 is a 4.
So if we look at the Brigand's card, you can see the skull symbol tells us his toughness. He is toughness 4.
Ha!
So you have met or beaten his toughness. So you have now done a critical hit to him, which, if we look at piercing strike, tells us that you do a serious wound.
Nice.
Right.
So he's seriously wounded.
It gets better. Serious wound means, if you look again at the Brigand's card,
he only got 1.
Elk symbol, he can only take a serious wound before he gets taken out. So he is dead. And because you're Nightfeather, you generate a point of fate for taking out an enemy. So now we have 3 points of fate. So that was, all in all, a pretty splendid go.
Yeah. I'm proud of my little Kenku. He's doing well.
Cool.
Next about the Brigands, that's not so good.
Not so good. So we'll reserve the right to judge how well Kenku's doing at the end of the round.
Yeah, probably better.
So let's have a quick look at the AI. So we use a really simple AI system that creates quite a wide variety of different behaviours. Basically, you start at the top of the flow, and the minute you can do one of those things, you do it and then you stop. So the first thing that a ferocious, which is what our hobgoblins are, will try and do is attack anyone who's in the same zone as them. If they can't do that, they will charge someone who is unengaged. If they can't charge someone who is unengaged, they will charge an engaged zone and pile up on someone. And if they can't do any of those things, they will just simply move closer to the nearest hero. So this guy over here, we'll start at the top and work our way down. He can't attack anyone in the current zone. He can charge someone who is unengaged. Now, both you and me are unengaged, and we're both within 2 zones. So the tie break is the marching order, and you are highest on the marching order, so he is going to try and run in and attack you. So he runs in and tries to stab you with his rusty sword, and you need to roll a defense roll, which is a d20 plus your defense stat. And if you look at Nightfeather's card, you've got a defense of 1. You indeed rolled a 1, and so you failed to defend against him. So he miserably, he does a light wound to you. There would be good news. If you roll a 1 or a 20, you get a point of fate. But we've already got maximum 3 fate. So,
I guess Sherman already gave me the marker.
Yeah, I just dropped a wound on your sheet for you.
Right, so this guy over here is going to activate. He can get to, so he's got no one in his zone. He's got an unengaged person, which is me, 1, 2. So he's going to run in. Oops, oh, I didn't lock that tile. Bad me. Let me lock that tile. He's going to try and, thank you, attack me. So I need to make a defense roll. I have a defense of 1 as well. So a 3 is not going to be enough. So I take a wound, which is sad times. So let's just drop a wound on me. Right, the next guy over here, he can get to both of us. So using the marching order as a tiebreak, he's going to come in and attack you.
He's going to pile in into that fight. And I have to defend again, right?
You do.
So, 18. That looks a lot better.
That's splendid.
You nimbly step aside. Now, this guy can attack both me or you, and because you're highest on the marching order, he's going to come in and try.
But Matt, it's mover 2. Remember? Hello, that will come after me in the corridor.
Oh, you're unengaged. Even better. 1, 2. He's going to come scuttling through there and take out Stoneheart.
I love your optimism. Take out Stoneheart.
I'm rooting for the hobgoblins.
What?
Hey!
Well, you're not.
Okay.
Think again.
We need to spend some of this fate.
Well, I'm sure I can do that.
Cool. So that is the Brigands go, and that's how quick and easy it is to resolve their AI. And you can see that these 2 piled on someone. This guy split up, and this guy actually went in and chased down. So you can see how we can get some really interesting behaviours going. It is Stoneheart's go.
So I am going to use my first ability, which is Balanced Thrust. It doesn't cost me any fate to use it. I have +2 to hit on this. It's been upgraded a couple of times. It uses my strength, so I also have +2 on that as well. So I've got a total of +4 to this roll. And let's do it now. So 17 feels good. So that's hit the Brigand. Obviously, the target number is 10. I will now roll my damage roll, and I use a D8 for Stoneheart. So let's see where this gets to. A 5 feels pretty good. Toughness is 4, to remind you. And looking at Balanced Thrust, this does a serious wound if I roll above their toughness. So that's actually killed the Brigand in the same room as me.
Nice.
Now I could stop and check out the chest that's sort of burning away of acid, but I think I feel a little bit better if I actually went to go and help you guys. So I'm going to go and square off, I think, against this big old brute over here.
Good plan.
Yeah, thank you for taking that one on.
One thing that does happen though is because I left a zone with an enemy in it, I will suffer a parting blow. So as I run past, the enemy's going to sort of swing out of its sword and try and hit me. Now, the only good thing here is because when I leave the zone, there's more heroes than there are enemies. I actually get to do this advantage. So I roll two dice and get to choose the highest. And good that I did, because I'll take that 16. Plus 2 is 18, which easily beats 10, so I'm okay. That's my turn over.
Cool.
Okay.
Who's next? I'm next. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use. What am I going to use? I'm going to use Guiding Strike, I think, on the guy that's in front of me. So I am +2 on this. Our survey says 17, so that is a hit. I roll D6 for my damage, and I need a 4 or more, which I get, which does a critical wound and a push. So I am going to take a Hobgoblin Bandit out, and I am now free. I've got to move. I think 1, 2 is really sensible.
Okay.
Well, the other thing you could do is pin. You remember we need to use some stuff, so you could pin the Kenku in place.
I did think about that, but I then thought the Kenku...
Me?
Yeah, but then the Brute's going to go in the Kenku. I'll save that for next turn.
Good choice.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay. Cool. Right, so the Brute is also ferocious. So this guy here, can he attack someone in the same zone? Yes. He's going to attack me. I am D20 plus my defensive 1, and I've also got a gem, which gives me +1 as well. So I'm going to make this at +2. And I need to beat an 11. So 11 plus 2 is 13. So I block that.
I'll be doing the same, but I have +2 because that's the native armor I carry.
11.
And that's 11, so I'm good.
You made it by the skin.
11.
Cool.
All good.
So we get to the end of the round. This dice goes down to a 3. And then we get to the end of the round and we roll for a wandering monster.
Oh, and we get new initiative each round.
Yes, and we get new initiative. So I rolled a 5.
No, that's a wandering monster, right?
Yes.
Nah.
Good news is that we get to see what the wandering monsters do. That's all the news there is. There is no good news. It's all bad news. Right, so wandering monster is an echo token that appears at the beginning of the dungeon. Every time we now attract a wandering monster, it will move closer to us. Doors stop it. So currently having doors closed between us and the wandering monster are a good thing.
Okay.
All right. So we've got a brand new initiative order, and at the top of the shops is Stoneheart. You are up.
So I think that the really awesome thing I could do is try and go over there and help out our Kenku. Go and help out Night Feather, but I should probably attack this brute in front of me.
Probably. By the way, the chat says that the ooze is unlocked.
Ah, tremendous. Yes. Really good. So we would have possibly seen Demon Blade now? And if not, that's a spoiler I've just dropped. I think Demon Blade was next. One hopes. So if I have a quick look at this, so I have the interesting thing. Stoneheart is really built about mowing down lots of enemies, attacking lots and lots of enemies all at once rather than one enemy multiple times. But at the same time, I don't want to take too many parting blows from this brute that I'm standing next to. So I think I'll attack this instead for the moment.
Cool.
So with that in mind, now the brute, it should be worth said, has a icon on it, which is the chains around its target number. That means that if you attack it, you have disadvantage because it is something where it's very heavily armored and it's got its guard up.
Oh, okay.
So the first time we actually do any damage to this, instead of damaging it, we break the guard and we flip the card over, which reveals its vulnerable side, and that's when we can actually start doing injuries to it. But for the time being, I'm going to attack with disadvantage for the time.
Yeah, so this is where we can kind of build in the concept of having to break someone's guard, like a shield breaker in a computer game. So when a brute takes damage, if you look at the brute card next to its health, it actually says, don't take this model off, flip this card over. And on the other side of the card is another version of the brute that is actually easier for us to take out. So we need to flip the card over, and then we can take the brute out.
So I'm going to roll my attack. So I'm going to use a Balanced Thrust. Now that looks fairly spectacularly bad because I have to choose the lowest number. But I do have at least an ability called Weapon Master here, which is a passive ability, so I don't need to actually spend an action to use it. Yep. And I can spend a fate point to reroll a missed attack. And that is exactly what I'm going to do.
Let's do it.
Since we said we had to get some of this fate spent, so let's do that.
Or you're +5 on this, aren't you?
Indeed.
That's better.
And that looks much, much better. So that certainly hit. I'm going to flip. I'm going to roll the damage dice just because. Oh, that would have been fantastic if it wasn't for the fact that the special rule says that instead of putting the token on, I flip the card.
Well, fair enough. It looked good.
It looked cool, right? So I flip the card, and if we now look at it, we can see that its toughness has dropped down to 4, which is much more sensible. It's no longer attacking it. It's no longer at disadvantage either, which is really good. So yeah, we can actually start doing some damage to this now. Now that will affect the other brute. Effectively, what I've done is I've stunned one and it's enraged the other. So we have a few tactical choices here. We can either concentrate fire on one brute to try and finish it off, and once we do, the card will flip back over again for the other one, or we can try to do damage equally and then finish one off, so that way when the card does flip over, one is carrying an injury with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But for my purposes, I think I'm going to hit it with my second attack, backswing, and that is going to cost me a point of fates to do.
Do it.
But this is normally an attack which is really good for attacking multiple enemies in the same zone, but obviously we don't necessarily have that luxury, so I'm just going to try and finish this off. And spectacularly miss by the looks of things. That looks like a 3. Adding my total of 5 to that means it's still not enough, so we won't talk about it.
That's because you put the lever.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. That was not the best.
All right. Night Feather, it's up to you.
Okay, so I'm just going to rearrange one of the cameras real quick.
No problems.
Okay, I think that's better. Okay, so Night Feather, I guess he's going to stay with the 2 brigands because moving out would give them
a parting blow,
attacks of opportunity, basically.
Yep.
So first I'm gonna use my...
You've got dodges as well, so that's how you can avoid parting blows or attacks of opportunity.
Then I'm going to use my piercing strike. That might even give me a dodge. We'll see.
Nice.
Also, I'm just going to roll on my dexterity.
Yep.
Let's see. That's a 2. I don't think that's enough, even with my bonus of +4. And then the next thing I can do, wait a moment, is I could use one of my fate tokens to do a quick slash.
Yeah, go on, go for it.
I'm going to do that, then I'm down to 2, I think.
No, we share the pool. So we
share the pool, so...
Yeah, so we if you use that and that's fine, then we'll have none, so we'll need to start generating some fate. That's also fine as well.
Okay. And that's a 1.
Well, there you go. We get fate point back for that. You get fate points for 1 or 20, so that's fine. It costs us nothing.
That's it. It's who's up next? Oh, the brutes.
The brute. So one brute is going to attack me. I'm +2 on my defense roll. 19 +2.
Yes, someone has to be lucky here.
And I'll roll this one, and I've got I'm going to take a wound on that one. 5 + 2 is only 7. I needed to obviously do better than that, so unfortunately not. On the plus side, I have just learned that it is indeed Demon Blade that we've just shown off, so I didn't drop any spoilers, and that's my favourite model from the range. So I'm really pleased to see that one come out.
Beautiful.
Okay, I have to take a look at that.
Please do. It's awesome.
Right, that was the brutes go. So the brigands go. I don't want to interrupt you while you're looking at Demon Blade, but the brigands are going to be stabbing you in the head.
Well, if they hit.
Okay.
So Night Feather, you have 2 brigands who are trying to stab you. So you need to make 2 defense rolls at +1.
Yeah. And what do you need to beat? That's the
10 or more.
The 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have +1, I think, on your armor. You do indeed. So 9 or more will do.
And I'm just going to roll both of them at once.
Yeah.
17, 18.
Like a pro.
Nicely done.
I can't hit. Yes, but they can't hit
So
me.
Night Feather Knight Feather has the advantage of being very short, so obviously it's not very difficult to duck.
Even against goblins, great. Or what are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that, yeah, right.
So, I think what I'm going to do is I feel like I'm going to spend a fate point. No, I don't really want to spend a fate point. I've got a hard choice. I think I actually think I'm going to.
You could hit the brute to move it out of the way. Saves you making the dodge.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's do a guiding strike on the brute while he's vulnerable. So I'm +2 on this for my wisdom. 9 + 2 is 11. That's just a hit. That'll do. I'll take it. I am D6 against toughness 4. So I do not do a wound to it, but I do get to dodge. No, I get to push, don't I? So I'm going to push him.
Oh, push it.
Push him probably closer to you to make it easier for you to get to. And then I've got an action left. I think. I feel like I'm going to just move into this square here, into this zone. That'll do for me.
Thanks for helping me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just reshuffle the deck.
Right,
for future reference,
we drop that down to a 2.
Yeah. For future reference, don't put your cards in a bag to shuffle them. There are much better ways of doing this.
There are better ways. Let's roll a Wandering Monster check. A 4. Okay, this is good. This is.
The draw of cards not quite so good. The brigands will be going first.
Okay, we did get to put the doors down for this particular room as well.
Oh no, it's blue. Blue is the doors, Matt.
When did that change?
Remember, actually it changed and then changed back again. You're looking at
okay.
These aren't quite up to date.
Fine.
So
I'll trust you.
That is what always happens when games are still in development. I get it all the time. The people, which version? When did we change the rule? Have we changed the rule?
Well, I mean, I'm more than happy for us to put doors on here, but that would feel then immediately wrong to all of the other playthroughs are incorrect. Oh. So I'd rather it probably makes sense with that one.
Let's assume the other ones were correct then.
All right, brigands. They're going first this time, so they are going to attack the same zone. There's the half orc and the Kenkus. Kenku, you're top. Night Feather, you are going to take these attacks, both of them. So you need to make 2 defense rolls.
Okay, again. 1 and let's see. That's a 16 and an 8.
All right. So one of them you make, and one of them
I don't.
You don't. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's your go.
Wound token.
Time for retribution.
Okay, 2 wound tokens. I can take 2 more. Well, I can take 1 more. Then with the 4th, I'm down, right?
Yes.
Nah, hopefully not. Okay, so that means now I'm up. Then I'm just going to go again and try to knife first one goblin, then the other. Let's see. That's an 18 plus 4, 22. I guess that's a hit.
Definitely hit.
Definitely
let's
so.
See, that's 3.
That's a light wound.
Plus 1 with my...
Nice, good point. Yeah,
that's a 4.
That's a 4. So
that's a 4. So it's that's a critical hit, right?
That is a critical hit.
Yep, that's correct. So that'll be one less goblin.
And we get a fate point.
Oh, nice.
Cool. That first action, you could spend that fate point on doing another.
Exactly. I'm going to spend the fate point to use my other attack and try and get the other goblin.
Makes sense.
That's a 1 again.
That's another fate point at least.
Well, nothing's changed. That roll. We're going to take it nice and slow here. Okay, that was my turn. Then it's Stoneheart.
Stoneheart, where you go?
Okay.
I like her look.
I think I'm going to.
Yeah, she's very cool.
She's like, don't bother me. I've got a job to do.
I think. I'm too busy taking care of business. I'm going to try and kill this brute in front of me, I think. So I'm going to use a balanced thrust to start with. Let's roll that dice. That's a 13. That's definitely a hit. Let's see what this does. And on a 6, I do a serious hit, serious wound. which is enough to kill that brute. So if we look at that card, because now it's flipped, it's in this vulnerable state. So I'll flip that back. Oops, sorry, I've just flipped it. Let me just quickly flip back over for you. So that's actually enough to kill that brute in this case. So I will just grab the brute and take them away.
Okay, but we have to flip it back to the chain side, right?
Unfortunately so. So the other one has now kind of regained its composure, having just seen its ally felled. So that leaves us with this. I am very boldly going to step forward into the same square as the brute.
Nicely done.
Just embrace, a larger foe than I, although I'm a dwarf, so it's not terribly difficult to find someone taller than I, and then go from there.
Awesome. I am going to activate as Dawn Guard, and I'm going to use a guiding strike on this guy in front of us. I am +2 on this. 11 + 2 is 13 is a hit.
Very nice.
I am going to roll a dice. I'm not going to wound it. I am going to push it. I'm going to push it into the same zone as Stoneheart for reasons that will become clear. And I would have generated a point of fate for that, because that is how I generate fate, is by pushing people around.
Pushing people around.
Yeah, but we've already got 3, so that's fine. In which case I might spend a point of fate. Oh no. Yeah, I'm going to spend a point of fate and try and make him easier to hit. Because the disadvantage attacking the brute is a physical thing, I can use one of my prayers, which is Wrath of the Gods, which is a magical attack. So I can roll normally. If I hit, then good things could happen. So let's... let me roll it. I am +2. 11 is a hit.
Just barely hit, right?
And let's roll for damage. It's a 5, which I don't think is enough. Sad times. Yep, sad times. So it is a hit. It is a push. It didn't do what I wanted it to do, which is, that's dice for you. So he's all done. We move this dice down to 1. We've got one more round, guys, to get rid of this. Wandering Monster check is going to be a D6, a 1, so we are fine. And we are at the beginning of a new round. Right, let's get rid of these.
Okay, let's see.
Well, I know which card flips over as soon as I draw it. So that's Night Feather first.
Yeah.
Night Feather always flips.
And then our friend the brute.
Yeah. He seems to, on this build, he makes a stealth check every time he comes out of the bag.
It's kind of fitting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like I'm last on this one.
Good.
But Night Feather is going first.
The Night Feather is going to move into the party zone.
Nice.
No. Get up. Very good. I got you. So let's just rearrange some of the people here.
Yep.
So Night Feather is in the zone, and should I take out the goblin or should I try my hand with the brute?
You're more likely to do damage with the quick slash. It will cost fate to do it, but.
And I'm going to let's flip a fate point, and I'm going to use the quick slash. Right, that's the name.
Nice.
Yep.
Roll. And it's 1.
Oh my! How many of those have you had?
4 so far.
That is,
I think 7 rolls.
That is unreasonable.
We had a conversation before you joined us, Matt, where I was told that I always roll really well.
I said it balances out over the whole game.
Over the course of a year.
Yeah. Well, look.
Maybe I've used up all my luck for this year, and this is what remains. Okay.
So what I see is Night Feather walked into a room, did something totally awesome, and generated a point of fate. So well done, Night Feather. That was cool.
Yeah, good job, Night Feather.
He looked very cool while doing it, or you took pity on him, and now.
All right.
Gather your strength. Let's see.
The brute is going to try and punch you in the face for your troubles, unfortunately, because you are highest on the marching order.
Oh, well, thank you, brute.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can dodge him. Not with a 3. Ouch.
That's another wound.
I will get you another one of those wound tokens.
Uh-oh. Right, okay. Things have suddenly got... It's now...
Maybe Dawnguard can try and take out the brigand?
Let's try it. Well, I'm going to... I actually think that me trying to get Wrath of the Gods onto the big guy is still our best plan.
Mm-hmm.
Although
we need to roll 6 to actually do it, don't you?
That's not good at all, is it?
The thing is, the goblin still has his action this round.
That's the point. Yeah. All right. Let's try and.
I think it's a very good
if
choice.
I don't dodge him, the Night Feather is done for, and you have to carry his corpse out of the dungeon.
That's
right?
fair. Okay. So what we're going to do is. Well, here's what we're going to do: is we're going to spend. My first action is going to try and guiding strike on the Hobgoblin Bandit. 10 plus 2 is 12, so that's enough. That's a hit. I need a 4 or more, which I don't get. I do get to push him, so I'm going to push him like that, and that generates a point of fate, which makes me slightly annoyed. I could have done this the other way around, but that's fine. What's that? Because
I was about to say, you don't really need to do that. You could leave him in the same square.
I can leave him in the same square. I'm going to use Hymn of Passage for 1, and I'm going to put that onto Night Feather.
Ah, smart.
So I can cast Hymn of Passage, which basically can teleport you a zone. But because I've upgraded my Hymn of Passage, I can teleport you 2 zones. So I'm going to teleport you, Night Feather, to safety.
Thank you!
You are very welcome. I'm not sure that is safe. I'm going to put you over here.
Yeah, I'm about to say, in the part, safe is a relative term when you can hear footsteps from a wandering monster.
Yeah. You finish off these guys, I hear something over here.
There's something scratching at the top.
Yeah. So in true comedy fashion, you've just teleported Night Feather into the other room and just come screaming back into this room. Going, no!
There's something much bigger out there.
There's something there. Right. Okay, so the Brigand is now going to hit me instead of Night Feather, and that is a much better prospect.
Nice save.
I am +2 on my roll. A 1 means that we get our fate point back, and I take a wound. Well done. Well done,
I'm not
mate.
the only one.
No, that's true.
I think Tabletopia is quite brutal with the dice rolls. It's very unforgiving.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take that. So that's the bandits go. Stoneheart, please save.
Stonehearts. Yeah, so I'm going to use one of my abilities. I'm going to use a point of fate to use an ability called Backswing, which we haven't really properly seen yet. Now, this looks very much similar to Balanced Thrust on the actual card itself. I still have +2 on this upgraded, so that's good. So I'm still adding +4, plus another 1 for my weapon, +5 to the attack. But and the effects much the same, but it does have the special rule that if I hit one enemy with this, after resolving the attack, I can apply the same effects I did to the first enemy to another enemy in the same zone. So I can actually do something quite cheeky here. I can actually hit the goblin, the easier to hit one, do some damage to it, which will then affect the brute standing next to me and break its armor.
Oh.
So that's why Matt's been sort of dragging them together to kind of make it easier for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly where I'm going to go. And watch me now miss, of course.
No, I hit. Sorry, I
isn't the best.
Say, Sherwin, I didn't say. I did hit with my guiding strike, which means that I would have given you advantage. Which is what
okay.
It's one of my abilities with guiding strike. If I hit, I can give a friendly advantage. So I will do that.
Well, that's perfect then. In which case, I've just hit. Fantastic.
Very good.
So having done that, let's now roll our damage roll, and this is 4. It's only a 3 on this one, which does a wound on the goblin, but also crucially puts a wound onto the brute, which is enough to flip its card over.
Cool. So they're both. The bandit is bloodied.
Yep. And the brute is not feeling bloodied at all, but is actually feeling pretty. Is still not enjoying life too much because we just broke its armor.
Brute or the bandit.
So it's interesting, isn't it? I'm rather more inclined to try and finish off the bandit because it's one less attack, and it's easier to do.
That's fair.
But then, of course, yeah, let's go with that. So I'm going to attack for my second attack. I'm going to hit the bandit. Let's roll that. And that's an 8, but I've got +5 to that, so that's definitely going to hit the bandit. And now let's roll the damage roll. And that's a 2, so that's only going to do a light wound, but because the bandit is already, the brigand I should say, keep calling it the bandit, has suffered a wound, that's actually going to kill it, because it's going to suffer a serious wound as a result of 2 normal wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So that's done it. So, A couple of things happens there. Firstly, Stoneheart's ability is if I hit with 2 different attacks in my action, during my turn, I actually generate a point of fate. So that's flipped that particular card for us.
All right,
which is cool. So I've generated a point of fate. The other thing is we remove the where are we? The brigand card from the marching order. It's dead. There are no more brigands on the table.
And if you look at the brigand card, it's worth 1 piece of treasure, so we add that to our stash. Which we only get the treasure stash if we successfully complete this dungeon. So at the moment, the treasure stash has got a sapphire in it and 1 treasure.
Right. So not to add too much pressure to this, but if we now go to the reinforcements card at the end of the round, we remove that token. If we get there again at the end of the next round, we're going to spawn some reinforcements.
Yeah.
So it would be really good. Well, I'm going first by the looks of things. If we can then finish off this
let's
brood.
get rid of the brood.
And that's looking promising so far.
Okay, yeah.
Who could that be? The mysterious.
I was about to say, nice moves, Night Feather.
I don't fancy the brute's chances at the moment. So good luck.
So,
right. Yeah. So
Stoneheart.
I will be first. Stoneheart. So I'm going to make a balanced thrust and try to hit brutes.
Nice.
That will definitely hit it. And then we will roll this.
You got it.
6, so that does a serious wound, which is enough to kill the brute.
Perfect.
So let's just quickly. So Matt, I'm sure we'll grab our treasure token.
Yeah, let's stick that.
Which is awesome. So I'll just take this away. Now, if we have a look at that reinforcements card, that actually has the delay symbol on it. The delay symbol basically means this one will go away now because we successfully completed that fight. So because all the enemies are dead, this is gone. We do not need to worry about it.
Yeah. So a delay card will stay in the marching order while there are enemies. The minute there are no enemies in the marching order, that delay card goes away. So if the Wandering Monster had appeared, then the reinforcements probably would have appeared. That's why the Wandering Monster was such a big threat to us with the reinforcement card in play. Right, cool. So that was your go. So we can now have a look and see how beaten up we are. We are pretty beaten up. So I rather feel that we should have a short rest. So short rest, we can take as many as we want, but they cost us money. The first one is quite cheap. The next one is not cheap. And the one after that is really, really expensive. So we can probably afford 1 short rest. And that'll probably cost us a gold. And then see how we're nearly halfway there. So I think I'm feeling good. So should we have a short rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please let's have a short rest. I'm nearly dead.
So short rest, we get to basically reassemble ourselves on any zone that we want to. Mm-hmm. So we probably might as well do it by this portal. Yeah. We all recover 1 wound. And
so I'm just going to drop them in front of us here.
There are abilities that certainly Dawn Guard can get that help you heal more than 1 wound during a short rest, but she hasn't picked any of those just yet.
She's a baby Dawn Guard still.
Yeah, she's just an acolyte.
Do we want to change around the marching order at all?
I quite like the idea of you going face first through the door, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it feels sensible. I've got no wounds carried, unlike you guys. Also, I've got the most armor. Yeah. Okay, well, that'll start the round again. We do have our Wandering Monster, though. Is just gonna move forward and drop down to here. So it's got as far as the door now. We need to worry about that. We need to really ideally find another door. So,
but if you
we'll go into a corridor this time. Sorry, what? Sorry?
I was saying, if we stopped changing the colours on it, we would have had doors in the old version.
Yeah.
Oh, there is this. So that's another challenge. That's a challenge room. No enemies though, which is.
Right, I'll grab the challenge card and we'll see what we've got here. So the challenge card is going to be.
Sorry, why?
Oh no! So an earthquake. You are actually in that room, aren't you, Stoneheart? You need to make a TN6 Dex action roll. Because
TN6.
The ground shakes underfoot. TN6 action roll for your dexterity.
Well, I'm having a quick look. I'm actually a vaguely dexterous dwarf. I have +1 to this, so 5 will be good.
Oh, okay.
That looks pretty good. That is a 6.
So you succeeded.
So we can actually have a look at how this card works.
Yeah, if you double click on the challenge card, it will bring it up large, and you can see that there are multiple steps. So we've completed the first step, which is Stoneheart making a dex save. Because we've succeeded, we can go to the middle step, which is call your allies for help. Place any number of heroes from the previous tile onto this tile. And then we are all going to have to make strength saves to try and shore up the archways and the ceiling before it collapses. If none of us make a success, then all of these exits are going to collapse, and this is going to become one big dead end. So I feel like we should all go in and try and...
Yeah, let's try and help out the dwarf.
Yeah.
I have the feeling this dungeon building is not up to code.
It's not.
Crumbling here.
No, I definitely think so.
Not been inspected recently, that's for sure.
I've got a +1 for strength.
I'm +2.
I've rolled a 12 +2. I've rolled a 14 already. I didn't need you guys, but looks things.
Very good, because I've got a 5.
We're all holding the ceiling up while the dwarf is quickly jamming pittons in and shoring up the roof for us.
And the Kenko is cleaning his nails.
Yeah. So we successfully shored up the archways. We stopped a cave-in, which is great. I can't grab that card now.
No, it's an interesting one. Tabletopia has very helpfully decided that the card should remain in play.
We'll just ignore Tabletopia.
One of the benefits.
It's floating.
One of the benefits of playing, yeah.
Okay, so you can move. You can't explore again because that'll be doing 2 actions in a row. So that's pretty much a pass now, isn't it, for you?
It is, I'm afraid. Maybe I'll see if I can do anything with the card in the meantime.
Okay. In the meantime, Dawnguard, I am going to look to explore out of this zone. So we're going from a corridor into a room. So let's grab a room card. Let's see what. I've grabbed multiple room card. Oh, did I grab the whole deck?
You did. Oh, there you go. I've somehow moved. You've helped move the earthquake there.
Nice. Okay. So that's.
You did move the earthquake there.
Yes, finally. Get off there.
That's the deck.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you reveal the room card, Matt, and I'll take care of this bit.
Okay.
Save you too much stuff.
So this room is a 6x4 room, which is one of these guys. And
I think you picked up the wrong one, Matt.
I think... No, the good news is if we get through this room, we're almost certainly going to get out. So we just need to get through this room. So this is going to look a bit like this. I'll let you do the bad guys, mate.
Okay, no worries. I'll just I'll grab enough of those cards out of the way.
I will grab the aspect card for this particular fight. Sorry, I'll leave that there so you know where they go. So for this fight, we have got, oh my god, a large patrol. The enemies confidently advance, no doubt bolstered by their greater number. There's an additional D4 grunts on this board. Please
do you want me to roll the D4? Because I keep rolling
ones. Yes, you roll the D4. That's a good idea.
It's still a 4. Okay.
Oh man.
We got all the bad luck.
Here's the thing. We've got an option. And I'll tell you what that option is in a second.
Well, we're just going to just drop you in here.
I am half tempted for us to slam this door shut and use adventuring gear to hitting it shut and run off in the other direction. So you can...
I don't think that's a terrible idea at all.
So we can choose to spend some of our adventuring gear. Adventuring gear costs gold to buy. We can basically shut a door and we can pitten it closed so the bad guys can't get after us. But it will mean that we can't go this route. We need to find another way round, which means exploring off towards the west there. But that is a big fight in there with that large patrol. That's not cool.
So, yes, if we can do that and just...
Yeah.
What options do we have here? I only got 2 weapons.
Yeah, we are quite low level, and this is well. Look, this is the beauty of a rogue adventure or rogue dungeon is sometimes you end up with things that it's so close to the end as well. It's so frustrating. Right, I'm going to step back and slam the door shut. I'm going to use adventuring gear to bar the way.
You are going to have a parting blow on that one.
Wrong door.
I'm going to have a
and also it's also. Well, mate, I think technically, wishful thinking. We need to shuffle the marching order. Remember, we've encountered the enemies. Let's drop that in. But hopefully, we can certainly do that. Or maybe we can just shut the door and leave you to it.
Well, if one of us dies, we all die. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. So we can't leave him there.
Okay.
A brute. The brigands.
Oh dear.
I guess we don't have to worry about leaving her.
No,
It's
we really
going to be
need.
decided.
Yeah, we really needed.
Any of us to go.
Yeah.
There we are.
Okay, so the brute goes first. They are aggressive.
They are
enemies?
ferocious.
They are ferocious. So they are
ferocious.
So one of them is going to come in and attack me. So I need to make a defense roll because I'm not unengaged. So one of them is actually going to come straight through and attack one of you guys.
Actually, attack
who is
me.
going to be.
Me.
Yeah. So just to explain that, couldn't attack anyone in his zone, but he did have an unengaged zone within range. So he's just come.
So he just rushed in and
smashed me out of the way and is trying to attack Stoneheart now.
So
the good thing, Stoneheart is faster than Nightfeather, so he goes for her.
Exactly.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And what is spectacular about that is that enemies don't suffer passing blows the same as heroes, unfortunately. So, well, that's not so good. So that means I'll be suffering a wound, but I'll also be getting a push, and I can use that to our advantage. If I actually push myself up into, because I can choose where I go, into the same zone as you, Dawnguard.
Yeah.
I can help you take some of these hits, which is good.
That is
more precisely, I can at least start wiping things out. Right in the thick of the action.
So let's just make a bit of room because this brute is going to come in and try and attack me. So this is where Tabletopia does get a fraction awkward. There we go. Okay, that'll do. Oh no, I'm stuck now. Sometimes you can knock them with. Yeah, I'm stuck. I think it's.
I think we were overlapping with one goblin here.
Yeah, I think whoever's blue has control of my character because it's highlighted blue.
I'm not anymore. Oh, there you are.
Oh, there you go.
Just move it to there.
Well done. Nice. All right, cool. So we got there in the end. This zone is looking like it's full now, which is good news. Might be able to squeeze one more in. Right, so I need to make a defense roll against the brute, don't I? So let's do that. And 12 plus 2 is 14. No, I am fine. I've tanked it. So that is the brute's go. Now the brigands.
No.
So the brigands are also ferocious. 2 of them are going to attack in this zone, and they're going to attack me because I'm highest on the marching order. So 2 boons straight away. Okay, this is really bad now. Okay, and then these guys are going to try and get into this zone. I think one more gets into this zone. And is going to attack me.
So once you can't physically fit any more models into the zone, it's full.
I think I'm doing that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I successfully tank that. And these are basically going to move as close as they can because this zone is full, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So that wasn't terrible. We've kind of jammed the doorway a little bit. How much fate do we have? We have a lot of fate, don't we? So,
yeah, we got the full 3 points right now.
What is the best bet? I still think us getting out and shutting the door feels like a good idea, and then we've just got one brute to deal with. We can do this.
The other option is to forge. The other option is to forge forward and make a beeline for the exit.
Well, we all just try and run through. All right, let's try and do that. That's more exciting. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to do something magical.
Are you going to use Hymn of Passage to get...
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to use Hymn of Passage to move Night Feather 2 zones. 1, 2. Oh, no, you have to be in the same zone. I'm going to do it on you, 1, 2. So you can move over to...
Can you do it on yourself? Because you could use it to skip straight out. If anyone you're vulnerable, I'm not so much.
Okay, 1, 2. That's Hymn of Passage. And I think I might as well try and...
Would you want to explore to see what's beyond, or would you want to literally just get out, you think?
Yeah, sure, let's explore. Just to kind of make sure we've got an exit. So please don't be a dead end. It's a T-junction. That is fine because
with a door. With a door, Matt.
With a door. It's going to cross the boundary, which means that because we've crossed the boundary, this is now an exit to the next level. And that is fine. There is a door here. So we can basically try and run through and slam this door shut.
I don't know if I can run through... How many are there? 2 brutes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hobgoblins.
There is only one way to find out.
Also, remember, you've got a card here, Matt. So
I've got a challenge
waiting for you.
All right, what's the challenge in here? Is going to... Oh, my God, it's that trap door. Oh, no, it's not the one with the lever. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to make a Dex action roll, and I am Dex 0. So I roll a 10, which I think is just enough. No, it's 12. I fail, so I fall and land on a corpse. I suffer a light wound, which puts me on 4 wounds. I then have to make a wisdom save, because there's something to...
You should be very good at this.
Which I am not good at. And then I need to make I climb up the jagged stone. I need to make another dexterity check to get out.
Or you suffer bleed.
Oh, okay. Please make this. Yeah! I climb out of the pit. Fine. Covered in an ancient corpse dust. Sprinkled all down.
Now, because you're on the same square as
so we don't stumble into it.
Yeah.
If we come after you.
Because you're on the same square as the stairs, you can actually leave, Matt, if you wanted to.
I can, because this is all moral support. So basically, because this crosses the boundary, this now counts as stairs out, or down. So you guys just need to make it through this massive melee.
Well, I can. Yeah, I can get to where you are. I don't think it's really going to make too much difference trying to kill some of these enemies. So I'm going to move. That's going to be a 1.
So that's a parting blow with disadvantage.
Double move, by the way. Yep. Let's. Where's my other D20 gone?
I have no idea. Where did it go?
You guys.
Oh, I see it. It rolled down there.
Oh, it's over here. I'm going to say Night Feather stole it. I have no idea base for that.
He lost it in the picture.
But you are the rogue, of course. So
classic Night Feather.
What? I just turned them around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where it went in the pit trap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I actually made that first one.
Nice. Now you got to make another one. This one's even, so because there's an even number of heroes to enemies.
Yep.
Which
and this one's +2, so that's actually made it. So on 10.
So you went through with your double move. Right. That's cool.
Yep.
So Night Feather.
So just you, Night Feather.
Okay. So Night Feather moves 1 step. Thoughts over. No, let's see.
So you need to make a parting blow to get past this brute.
Yeah.
So
that's a 16.
At disadvantage, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, so you know,
the first one isn't. The first one isn't. This one is. The next one is.
Comically, I'd forgotten about the brute.
In the first zone, there's only been 1 enemy.
That's correct. I actually had forgotten you were standing next to a brute. So.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just. We need to disassociate them. Yeah.
Come here.
That's it. You
Get
got
it right. So now he's moving into the next zone, and now it's a disadvantage because there's a whole lot of enemies there.
Go on, you can do it.
No, he can't.
You only take the 1 wound. This will be very tense. Very tense.
All on this roll now. You've got one more roll.
One more.
2, 3.
Comes down to the last roll whether we get out.
So screaming and screeching, tries to get out.
And flapping furiously.
And a 15.
Spectacular.
Made it. Cool. So we chose to run rather than fight, and I think that was the wisest choice we could have made. So yeah, we basically get out of the dungeon, and we successfully complete this encounter, which means we get 2 pieces of treasure, and we get a sapphire, a brilliant sapphire, which is pretty sweet. That's not a bad return.
Sorry, I've just moved it away. So yeah, that's the sort of thing where I think that would really work for either of us with fighting classes. So definitely Unite Feather. I think you could definitely benefit from that.
Yeah, nice little +3 to hit. Very cool. And that's the game. Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I like it when something comes to a point where there's one dice roll that's deciding whether you win or lose. That's kind of, I think that's the sweet spot you want to hit. And I like how easy it is to read the cards, definitely, from the monsters. That with one glance I can see what do I have to roll again, what is going to happen. So yeah. And I definitely like Night Feather.
You definitely play Night Feather very well. I think what I enjoyed watching was how quickly you pick the game up. Like it's one of those where 5 minutes of just explain it and you're like, yeah, I get it. And you were then making really good uses of Night Feather. You used both abilities, and you were looking for opportunities to use Night Feather in a creative way. And you're starting to explore the depth of the game now. So as you add a few more abilities, then you're going to have more utility and more options available to you, and that's where the game really starts to open up. So I'm excited to kind of play with new people, because it's a secret way that Sherwin and I can play test the game with new people. So we got a brilliant benefit out of hanging out with you and playing a game, as well as having an awful lot of fun for the last hour or so. It's been really good.
And of course, I should stress, I think that's the first escape from the dungeon that we've actually had filmed live or filmed at all. You literally have that accolade. You are the first one.
Oh no! Yeah. All the other ones that were live, they didn't make it through.
Well, it's more so much we either stopped to showing a short demonstration of how combat works or whatever else, or in the case of poor Dicebreaker, they really did not have fun.
We failed two this week. We've failed, haven't we? Or one this week and one late last week. So yeah. I'm kind of over the moon that we actually succeeded. That was really cool.
I mean, we didn't look very much like heroes now, running and screaming, but it's like we're baby adventurers.
Right, we're still alive.
This is going to change over time.
We just don't tell any of the villagers or the bards about this particular moment where we ran.
Yeah. No, we're just going to tell them up to the point where the last room was full of monsters, and then we're going to go
and they can draw their own conclusion.
Yeah. The end of this particular tale says, well, and then we found the stairs.
Yes.
Doesn't actually tell you how we traversed them, in a hurry after slamming a door shut behind us.
I really want to get closer to the models you're using here in Tabletopia. They are based on the 3D models you're working with?
They are exactly the 3D models that we're working with, yeah.
Because that Kenku looks really nice.
Yeah. We are very lucky with the talent that we have in the sculpting team. It's a constant source of delight to see what they come up with, each and every time we think of hey, wouldn't it be great if we had this type of monster? They're like, okay, we'll come back with something cool. And then 2 or 3 days later, they come back with something cool. They are really, really talented bunch, and a lot of fun to work with.
Did you see that there's a slight spoiler on the table here, Matt? I don't know if you've zoomed out a bit and seen it.
Is that the boss arena?
Well, yes, but there's also a creeping, slightly scary thing here. Which is probably worth looking at.
That's one of the early bosses. That one.
This is the Crimson Hook, and she's quite scary.
Oh yeah, I'm slightly arachnophobic, so anything that writes a giant spider is getting me antsy.
I'll take that away, shall I?
If I've got a screen between me and the creature, that's fine. And
okay, well then she'll come back.
But...
Yeah, this is we'll be showing this a little bit later in the campaign, but the bosses are very similar to the core mechanic, but have a very different feel to them.
Yeah. I'm just giving people a nice 360 view of the miniature.
Yeah.
It's a really, really awesome miniature, this one.
I think we talked about it during Spiel already, but what material are you using for the miniatures? So
it's our special blend PVC, and we use a mixed medium. So some of the elements that you see there, like the base and probably the hook staff that she's carrying, will be in a harder material, it's called ABS plastic.
Okay, so it's not going to bend.
It shouldn't bend, no. And the bases will be ABS plastic, so they won't warp or distort, so they'll be perfectly flat. And because they're slightly heavier than PVC, they give the mini a nice kind of bottom center of gravity, so they sit quite nicely on the table as well. So we spend quite a lot of time working with our factories to make sure that the minis feel nice in your hand, and they also don't end up with horrible wobbly bits.
Okay. Do you already have, I think this is a pretty early stage, but do you already have an idea how you're going to pack this in a box? So are the minis going to be in extra inlays or things like that?
Yeah. So we've been chatting with Game Trace. I don't know if you've heard of their work, an American company who are experts in fitting an awful lot of things into a very small space. And one of the key aspects that we want for Bardsung is that you can be opening the box and playing this within 5 minutes. So at a very high level, what we're thinking is you'll pull out the top tray, and that will have all of the cards and the dice and the tokens and everything like that in it. That's called your control tray. So you bring that out and you just need that for all your bits and pieces. The next tray will be your tiles. So they'll all be laid out so you can easily find the tiles you need. That'll go to one side. The next trays will be your individual character trays. So you'll pull that out. That'll have all your cards and all your tokens inside a tray, and it will have saved your progress. So if you upgraded any abilities or anything like that, then you'll have that all to hand. And then the next trays down will be your monsters. So the idea is you unpack one, unpack the other, give every person their character, and then the monsters are sitting there and you're ready to play.
That sounds really good, because we've got a few dungeon crawlers here, and many of them are just a nightmare to keep orderly without an extra broken token set or something. So I'm really thankful for everyone who puts thought into how to pack this game back in after you've played it, and when you have everything taken out. What are the punch boards, right? If you've everything ready, that you actually have spaces to put all the tokens and things like that.
Yeah, and what we have found as well is working with someone like Game Trace as early in the process as we have done means that we can really be tailoring the content and the box size to maximize every square inch of space. So, you know, we can make sure we're not wasting anything, which is, you know, a real advantage when you're trying to squeeze as many miniatures into a box as possible, because we don't want a box this big. It'll cost a fortune to ship that around the world. We need to make the box nice and small and compact and really heavy.
Absolutely. There's questions in chat. How big are the minis going to be? So what's going to be the... looking at them, I can see that there's lots of different sizes, but for instance, what's going to be like the dwarf size? Because she looks pretty standard size. Yeah, so these minis are going to be to heroic scale rather than realistic scale, so they will feel slightly larger. They will be to the standard scale that you would expect from a role-playing game. So all of the minis that you get in this will be fully compatible with your other collection of minis from other role-playing games. So yeah, 28mm heroic, if you want to put a precise number on it. Although the heroes are probably closer to 30, just because we want them to stand out a little bit more. Yeah, I can see that you've given the dwarf a little extra height, jumping from rocks.
There's lots of little tips and tricks that we can do to kind of, you don't want the dwarves or the halflings, or the gnomes to feel too small. So we always give them something a bit extra to bulk them out a little bit. You want the hero model to have presence on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, if you have already talked to partners, or if you have any plans to have translations made of the game, so if it's, for instance, going to be a German version.
Well, look, we have translated previous games into other languages. German is always the top of the languages that we want to translate into, closely followed by Spanish and then French. For obvious reasons, and it's not something we do at Kickstarter because it just adds so much complexity to the interactions we have with the factory, and it just increases the risk profile of the project. So what we do for Kickstarters is we focus on English language, and we then, because we know that an awful lot of our early adopting community, fortunately for us, are English speaking. We're very lucky that everyone over in Europe takes the time to learn English, which is great. But what we do is we then end up talking with local distributors and retailers to basically secure translated language copies. But that won't be until the game goes to retail, which will be, in a year and a half's time.
Okay, then we've got kind of a point, because most gamers speak English, but we also always have some friends who, for instance, if you're from Eastern Germany, probably the language you learned was Russian instead of English, depends on the age and things like that. So everyone's happy if there's a possibility to look at some time. Very good.
Well, the other thing as well, especially with German in particular, is I have a couple of very dear friends who are German, and they do frequently volunteer to translate things for me, just so that we can then put it into a PDF and share with people. So I rather suspect that will happen, because Daniel is an absolute D&D nut. He loves everything to do with D&D and fantasy, and I would imagine that he would be very keen to translate this, and we'll be more than happy to put that out as a PDF. But then to do a full translated copy would be something that we would look closer to retail rather than during Kickstarter.
Yeah, but a PDF, that's awesome. Right? If you can just if there's a way that people get their hands on that in digital form also, that's just really nice. Okay.
Yeah, I can't promise anything, but that's how we've seen it happen on all our other games. So that's more than likely what's going to happen.
We see. Okay, then thank you so much. I enjoyed our little playthrough. And I'm happy that my little raven guy made it through.
Yes, glorious. It was the clutch roll right at the very end, which I particularly enjoyed. It's,
very well done, little Kanky.
Raven or penguin? Who knows?
Penguin. We don't know. Maybe there's going to be slightly different color schemes coming up for him.
Possibly.
Yes.
Well, thank you ever so much for having us.
Yeah, it was awesome.